this evening. The story that this is going to be a Nevermore tale called A Different Kind of Light. Kind of a strange name, but it will become apparent eventually what the meaning of that is. Tonight I'm running Nevermore, which is a new role-playing game, which is going to Kickstarter October 4th. So this is one of the very first times it's been seen out there, in the Ethernet. Or Aethernet in this case. Nevermore is a game of American Gothic horror. It takes place in the year 1888 in the city of Baltimore. The characters are all members of an organization known as the Esoteric Order of the Illuminists. Each of them belongs to a cabal within that order, and each of these cabals have different specialties in ways of dealing with dark, undead, spirit type things that they seek out and destroy. The conceit of this world is that the world itself is pretty much the same as our own. You wouldn't, for the most part, notice that there's any, if you were in the world of Nevermore, you wouldn't really notice that there's anything different. Except that there are places known as Aetheros, and there is Aether. Aether is the substance, although it has no physical form, that allows magic to exist. And because it allows magic to exist, it also allows monsters to exist. And in certain places in the world, the Aether pools and coalesces and becomes you laughing at me there. It pulls and coalesces and becomes something, a place where creatures of the night can exist. And what the Esoteric Order of the Illuminists does is seek out these places and attempt to end them and resolve them, figure out a way of making them go away. Because if you let them go, they tend to fester and grow, and that would be bad long term. Does anyone have any questions about the setting or the game itself? I guess I'll launch into a little diatribe of the rules, just so everybody out there watching has a basic understanding of how things work. You have a character sheet. There are 4 qualities in the character sheet, which basically are kind of like your D&D stats. You have Cardia, which is social, Corpus, which is physical, Psyche, which is intellect, and Pneuma, which is practical knowledge and willpower. Underneath each of those is a list of skills that are related to that quality. You'll note that each quality is also associated with a card suit. This game uses a deck of cards rather than dice. So, you can have your own, cool decks of cards. In this case, we're going to be using Roll20 just to be, for ease, and so everybody can see what's going on at times. Anyway, the qualities range from 2 to ace, just like, like cards. And then the skills themselves, there are 5 levels of the skills. Each little triangle that's filled in is 1 level. If you're attempting to do something in the game, you make a skill test. Anything that you do has a certain risk. I'll say it's risk 2 or risk 3, and that's the number of successes you need to succeed for that test. When you're making a test, you get to draw as many cards as you have skill levels. Pretty straightforward. So if you have 2, you draw 2 cards. If you have a 3, you draw 3 cards, so on and so forth. To get successes, you want your card. So let's say in the case of Cardia, what is the Cardia score of the character you have up?
4.
4. Okay, so let's assume it's a 4. Any card that's a 4 or less would be a success. Any card that is a heart would also be a success. So you've got a 25% chance with every card of getting a success there, no matter what, no matter how low that score is. And then in addition to that, if it's both equal to or lower than the quality and of the same suit, you get a fortune point, a fortune token, which is fortune's very important part of the game. It's sort of a meta currency that gets used for a lot of different things, which I'll cover real briefly before we start. You also have grit. A little further down, Most characters start with 10, but it can vary a little bit. Grit is sort of your hit points. If you take damage, you can spend grit to avoid taking actual damage. Which you see below grit, there are damage conditions which you'll suffer if you don't have any grit to spend or choose not to. Grit can also be used to increase your chance of success. You can, for every point of grit you spend, you can draw an additional card, but you have to declare that before you actually make the draw. So if you only have a 1 and a skill, but you really need to make this test, you could spend 2, 3, 4 grit, greatly increasing your chance of success. And then you also have courage. Courage is what you lose when you encounter terrible, horrible things during the course of the story. And I'll get into the details of how courage works when we need it. I'm not going to, dive into that too hard. You also have hardening, which is how you resist losing courage. It works just like skills. And then you have a weakness. A weakness doesn't affect you day to day, though you can, of course, role play it a little bit if you want. Really, weaknesses come into play when you run out of courage. You start taking psychological conditions that affect you based on your weakness. And finally, the sight. Every member of the Esoteric Order of the Illuminists is trained in the sight to some degree. It has a card suit as well, which is related to your weakness. And it also has a quality rating as well. When you the sight basically allows you to perceive the aether or an aetheros. There are 3 different varieties of the sight. There's locus, materia, and spiritus. Locus is place, location. Materia is an object or item, so you could look to see if an object is cursed or magical or that sort of thing. Or spiritus, which is spirit. Which would allow you to look at a person or even scan an area to see if there are any invisible spirits about. There are 2 ways you can use the sight. The first is the easy one, which is peeking. You can say, I'm going to peek using the sight, looking at, and just describe what you're looking at. And that's just sort of taking a quick look to see, is there aether? And all you get is a yes or no answer with that. Yes, there's aether. No, there's not. That's all you get. But it doesn't cost anything and it doesn't require a test. So then if you get a yes and you want to look at it further to try to figure out the details of what's going on, okay, this is an aetheros. What are its manifestations? What are its powers? How strong is it? Then you can make an actual test, and that's called peering. And you're basically opening yourself up to the aether. You're seeing all the nastiness that's associated with that. And as a result, you always lose 1 point of courage. Every time you peer, you lose 1 point of courage automatically. There are a lot of different ways to get courage and grit back. I'm not going to go into those in detail again until we need them. And I think that I should probably just let everybody know too, if you want to do something and you don't have any skill, you can still make the attempt. In that case, you just draw 2 cards and take the worst of them. You can spend grit though, and the additional cards that you spend for grit pull normally. So, that's one way, so even if you don't have skill, you can do it. And I realize I should probably cover fortune at least briefly. Fortune, like I said, is a meta currency. When you earn that fortune, when you're making a test, you can choose to spend it right away if you want. If you do that, it gives you an extra success. So essentially, you've got 2 successes for that 1 card. Or if you don't need it or don't want to, you can hold on to the fortune and spend it later. Any fortune that is spent later out of your personal pool goes to me and becomes Doom. A Doom token. And Doom tokens work basically exactly very similarly to Fortune in that I can spend them for the bad guys to do things and stuff like that. You can also so at any time you could pull a Fortune from your pool to buy an extra success. If you fail a test, you could spend a Fortune to try again, or to at least draw 1 more card. You can take multiple actions. You can reduce the time of something. You can reshuffle your deck if you've gone through all of your good cards. And most of your Cabal gifts, because each Cabal has special powers that they can do, most of your Cabal gifts cost fortune. Now, because we don't want you to not be able to do your gifts at any point, At any point in the game, you can take a fortune token from the pool, and and spend it. So if you need a fortune for something, you can just take it. However, that fortune token goes into my Doom pool, and I take a second one, so it's expensive. And then if there's only a certain number of tokens, if those run out, your Doom falls upon you, and something horrible happens in that scene to sort of change things up, shake it up a little bit. There's also a system for resolving things, for figuring out how the Aetheris work, which I call Telltales and Revelations, which again, I'll sort of go over later. But as you learn things, you gain Telltales, and at a certain point, you can spend them to attempt to have a revelation, which again, later on in the story. Do any of you have any questions? Is there anything that I need to go over before we begin?
I think I get it.
I did have one question. As I was going through the quick start rules, I noticed that with your weakness,
yes,
that was the suit was based on the weakness name.
Yes.
But the protagonist sheet for Luna does not match the quick start rules. So I was wondering which one was correct.
That's not good. That's something I'll have to...
Luna's sheet is cowardly with a heart.
Right.
But heart said... Oh, no, I can't find it.
Yep, I got it right here. Cowardly should be clubs.
Right. So I wasn't sure if it was clubs cowardly or if it was heart the other thing. I don't know which
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't know which piece is wrong for the Rook, Luna.
Wait a second.
Why don't you just keep the cowardly, since we know what that is, and it makes sense for a Rook anyway, and so it should be a club. And that means also
cowardly, and it shows a spade.
It shows a spade or a club?
Spade. Weakness, cowardly, spade.
Wow, I apparently did something really weird with those. Well, time to go to the protagonist sheet and do an update. But it should be cowardly. Should be clubs.
Cool.
I'm delusional.
Delusional should be a spade.
Yep.
I hope. Okay. Cool. I got some of them right.
I'm emo.
Yes, and that should be a heart. Okay.
You wear it on your sleeve.
I'm gonna go to the My Chemical Romance concert after this.
Exactly. So, any other questions? Thank you for catching that. I now have typos I need to fix. See you all.
And he'll be back on Friday.
What happens when you point out errors on air?
I'll give you more typos afterwards.
Okay, please do.
They're just little ones. That was the only one that had a rules-based question that I had.
Right. All right. So, and for anyone who is interested in a quick start guide, here they are. You can actually download them on DriveThruRPG right now. You might want to wait until I update the protagonist sheets, which are a separate download, so you can wait on that. But they'll be done by tomorrow afternoon. So, Baltimore City, 1888. And I need to just open something up here real quick.
$1888.
Yes.
Are people playing baseball yet, or is this right before baseball?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot with that one either.
Yeah, thanks.
I think we're right at the dawn of baseball. I think we're right around.
There's an internet
in a field with a stick, right? There's one guy. He's trying to make the rules over there.
Right. So the start date for this story is Saturday, September 10th, 1888. The group of you are gathered at your lodge. Every group of the Esoteric Order of the Illuminists in a lot of the major cities has what's known as the lodge. And the lodge is where you sort of go and hang out, socialize sometimes. If you're a disciple of the Emerald Tablet, you probably have your workshop there. and do your make your potions and things like that. Or if there was an etheric engineer, they'd probably do that there. It's a good place to stay. If you have a library, it's probably kept there. But you also receive all of the periodicals and magazines and such from around the East Coast, and you sort of pour through that looking for weirdness. Sometimes people come to you as well, because you have become known. You are known as people who investigate the unusual, the strange and unusual. So those scenes in Supernatural where they're going through the internet looking for something weird. You do that, but in a more paper and ink form. There is a knock at your door, a little more about the lodge. The lodge, it's a 3-story home, row home in downtown Baltimore, not too far from the harbor itself, very near the local library, the Enoch Pratt Free Library, which is, a convenient place to be at times. And you have a lot of basic gear and equipment and such stored there, lanterns and crowbars, whatever those kind of things you might need. You have a servant who maintains the place, Mr. Kinder, and his wife, Mrs. Kinder. I'm sorry, not Kinder. Sorry. What is his name? Well, we're not worried about his name right now. But yes, you have a servant who maintains the home, and there are extra bedrooms should anyone need it at any time. And you also have access to a horse and carriage, 2 horses and 1 carriage that will fit all of you. You're there. It's about 2 p.m. It's a pleasant Saturday afternoon, actually. What are each of you doing? Let's go around and give you each a moment. Like what are you actually doing as you're hanging out at the lodge? It's a way of introducing each of the characters. Hananan, you want to?
Yeah, sure. I'll be in my laboratory. Going through my potions, trying to get things ready, trying to maybe perfect my newest formula.
Sure.
And I will be interrupted by, my prayer time. So I shall go do that, just to get a full sense of the character.
All right. Who's next?
Cassidy has just stepped out and gone across the street to the local general store and grabbed a bottle of whiskey. And he's standing across the street, rolling a cigarette, as he sees this person come up to the door from across the street.
Sounds good. It looks like a young man wearing a shirt, suspenders, cap, maybe a messenger, wearing with a leather satchel. And next, who shall we have?
Can I ask, does the house have like a home bar, or is it like one of those little carts that's in like the sitting room type of thing?
Probably like the cart, but it's probably a cabinet where the majority of things are kept, and then a cart where the things that you access a lot are sitting.
Okay. I would say, playing off of what Gary said, reason why he had to go across the street to buy a bottle of whiskey is because, forgetting my character's name, Yu Fei just finished the last bottle of whiskey. He has the last glass, he's drinking it. He's, I'm going to say, kind of a habitator. It's kind of a drinking habit since the Surge, he's seen some shit.
Yep.
And that's what he does to cope.
That's fair. And finally,
And Luna will be in one of the darker corners, playing with her knives and practicing a little bit of knavery, just kind of sliding them in, hiding them and pulling them out. Stage magic,
sure.
but with knives.
You're all doing your thing.
Yeah.
And they said there's a knock at the door. Your housekeeper or your servant answers the door. It's, Mr. Kraus. He's an elderly German man. He's an excellent cook. He also grows some herbs in the back, and is always, sort of making sure you're all taken care of. Well, he goes and answers the door, and closes it. There is a letter here for addressed to the order. Which of you would like it?
I'll take it.
All right. He hands you the letter, and I will go ahead and just read it. Saturday, 10th of September, 1888. Dear fellows, a good friend. Well, you know right away that it is signed by a Dr. James Douglas Williams, PhD, who is a doctor at Johns Hopkins University, whom you've all sort of done business with in the past. He has encountered a number of strange, incidences at the university, a haunting in one of the dorms. And you all sort of assisted him with that. And so he's aware of what you do, and it just sort of has become a friend. Anyway, dear fellows, a good friend of mine and my family, one Ms. Elizabeth Kinder of Federal Hill, visited me this morning with a horrifying tale. Her niece, Dolores Duval, recently passed away quite unexpectedly. Ms. Kinder has fostered Miss Dolores since the recent deaths of the young lady's mother and father. Such a tragedy for so many deaths to strike one family in so short a time, but I digress. Last night, Ms. Kinder had a vivid dream of her niece. In the dream, Dolores was trapped in a room of light. A glowing, pulsing red light is precisely the description she gave. Now, Ms. Kinder is not one prone to flights of fancy, and in fact is one of the most stable and grounded people I know, a true pillar of the community, you understand. I tried my best to calm her, but she would not be stayed. She has requested that Dolores's body be exhumed. I dearly wish to save her the trauma of seeing her young niece's body disinterred, so I ask of you a favor. I know not if there is anything of the supernatural to discover here. I suspect that Ms. Kinder is simply suffering from the trauma of the loss of her sister and now her niece in so short a period of time. Though I cannot hazard a guess as to the meaning of her dream, might I prevail upon you to visit Greenmount Cemetery, where the young lass has been laid to rest, and at least make a cursory examination of the site. The groundskeepers won't perform the unwholesome task of exhuming Miss Duval's corpse until Monday, so this gives you some time to investigate. Please do whatever you deem necessary. I do not know that Miss Kinder's nerves can withstand seeing her niece's decomposing body. Unfortunately, I have to catch a train to New York for a conference this afternoon. If you have any additional questions, you can wire me at the Fifth Avenue Hotel. I have informed Ms. Kinder that acquaintances of mine might be visiting her concerning the matter, should you wish to speak to her. Her residence is directly across the street from the new Federal Hill Park on the corner of Hughes and Warren. I ask that you be considerate of her delicate condition. Sincerely, Dr. James Douglas Williams, PhD.
First thing we had to check is to see if water. Back home in Baton Rouge, the water. Sometimes people live by the cemetery, they drink cemetery water and they die. We got to go to their house, check the cemetery water.
Is there a reward or expenses? Because a stock of libations is dangerously low.
In the past, Dr. Williams has been quite generous, upon, your offer, your assistant, when you've assisted him in some matters. So though he doesn't specify any reward, you could expect that there would be something forthcoming, should you be able to prevent Miss Kinder from having to see her daughter or her niece's body. disinterred.
Hey, you Faye, don't you worry, mon ami.
And I bring up the bottle of whiskey,
I have more supplies right here.
and I'll fill you up, top you off.
Before we head out, anyone else want to drink? It looks like today's going to be a test of the nerve.
Cassidy, you are an angel.
And I'll look to you, Luna, because I know that Jahan's character, whose name I have forgotten,
Ali.
I know Ali does not drink.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Aw, cultural sensitivity.
Yeah, that's right. Our characters have been together a while. It's not the first time I met you.
Nice.
Well, whether there's a reward or not, I'm sure we'll be taken care of, but this family's been through quite enough as is, and we should do our best to put them and the dead to rest. So, if you are quite done gaining your courage, if we could make
He's
haste.
thinking. She talk about a blinking red light. You know this is blinking red light, this vision. This means to you, I don't know. I have never heard.
I have heard that should never leave a red light on. Pretty dangerous indeed.
Can I, with my background as an investigator, do I know anything about what a blinking red light might mean in the dream sense that she had? Sort of that what a spiritual blinking red light could have any significant purpose?
Not really. I mean, you don't recall anything. I mean, red has a number of meanings. It can be danger. It can be love. It can be, it can mean blood. In this sense, it didn't seem like that, though. So, a flickering red light is not something that you're very familiar with as far as dream interpretations.
Cassidy will be sort of just poring over this blinking red light while we're headed to the next place, just trying to figure out, every time I see the color red, I'm looking around trying to figure out what it could mean and how it could fit in.
All right.
I would ask, would Yufei know about it, because he's deals with the dead and spirits
Right.
and all that kind of stuff.
Again, nothing you've ever really encountered. Actually, well, I will, since you're asking sort of about that, if either of you wish to, do either of you have history as a skill, or any of you really?
I do.
Nip and check.
2 history.
If anyone wishes to make a history test to know a little bit about various things.
Be my guest,
not.
my friend.
I do not, so I'll leave it to Gary.
Okay.
And this is a draw 2, right? Since I have
Yes,
2
you
in
would
the
draw
skill.
2 unless you wish to spend any grit on it.
I'm going to draw the 2. Boom, boom. I've drawn a 4 and a 7. The 7 of spades and a 4 of clubs.
Ah, you put them. Okay. So, I can't
Sorry.
grab your sheet. All right, so let me look at your character sheet here real quick just to see where you stand with that. There you are. So you drew 2, and this would be a psyche. So both of these are successes because they're both under 8 or under. 1 4, 1 7, and one of them is a spade. So that will also give you a 3rd success, and that you will be able to get information with all 3 successes.
Heck yeah.
Okay. So I assume you're going to spend that fortune right then and there.
I would love to.
All right. Let me delete these, maybe. Okay. So a few things. One, grave robbing. If you are concerned about grave robbing in any way. The Kinder and Duval families. Both are prominent and Baltimore families involved in industry. Members of the families are a common sight at Federal Hill Society parties. The Kinders are shipping magnates who've been involved in shipping since the late 1700s. The Duval families own and operate a cotton mill in northwest Baltimore. Antoine and Jeanette Duval, the parents, were killed in a fire in February 7th, 1888. Dolores Duval was engaged to an Edward Pendergrass on May 1st, 1887. They had a June wedding set for the following year. There's no announcement of the wedding occurring anywhere, though. So it appears that has not taken place. Yeah. And concerning grave robbing and such, which is one of the concerns here, grave robbing is unfortunately a very common practice in Baltimore. The city's connection to the Baltimore-Ohio rail line and the half-dozen medical schools, and it being in a temperate zone that often allows for digging even in the depths of winter, has made Baltimore the most popular city in the country for grave robbing. Local grave robbers prefer to call themselves resurrectionists. There are 3 gangs who control most of the grave robbing operations in Baltimore: the Wharf Rats, the Blood Tubs, and the Rip Raps. And the bit of curiousness that you're aware of is the ghouls are sometimes known to actually leave an Atheros to steal corpses from a nearby graveyard. But their methods are usually rather sloppy.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
Very good.
A lot of info.
I love the Resurrectionists as a person. Not necessarily Luna, although she does too. I was in a play a while back where I played a Resurrectionist.
Oh,
We
wow.
sold bodies to we Resurrectionists sold the bodies to medical laboratories.
Yep, that's what they did.
We probably should have done this like earlier, but really quick. Just wondering what everybody's characters kind of look like.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Like a description.
Well, you should start.
All right, then.
Yeah,
Well,
get it, man.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yufei, he is he's Chinese, and he has kind of a scruffy-ish, unkept beard. He looks like he hasn't slept in a while. His clothes are, at one point, were pretty nice, but it hasn't really taken care of it. It's kind of wrinkled. The housekeeper has kind of been on his ass about that, actually. He kind of wears a bowler cap, kind of tilt to the side, and at his side, he usually carries a chip.
Sir, give me your jacket. I promise I can iron out those creases.
No. Don't bother. I haven't nicely broken in.
There you go.
It'll be nice to use as a pillow on our ride.
You would
to
use this with your jacket? That's a crime.
nice and broken in. The whole ironing thing, it just wouldn't be the same. And there's like obvious wrinkles and little rips around the collar.
Right?
I am wearing a all the way up to the neck and long-sleeved white, one of those long Islamic shirts with breeches underneath and boots. And I also have the small hat, which I don't know what it's called. Don't judge me. I'm Persian, but I'm not a Muslim in real life. So, yeah. And then I'd also have gold trim around the collar and the V. Because often we put gold into things that it doesn't belong in. So
I'll expect you to know what that is called by the next session. That's your
learn.
homework.
And I have a short beard, much like I do, and not very dark skin, just
Okay.
Yeah.
Who next?
Luna is wearing kind of work dress, something like a servant might wear, or a lower class artisan. She does glass blowing. Short dark hair, pulled back with a headband.
Cassidy is from Louisiana, but he also spent a bunch of time in French Canada trapping. So he wears furs and has like sleeveless with a bunch of furs, And then when he was in Louisiana, spent a lot of time with the hoodoo community, so he has a lot of bone trinkets in his necklace. And so you can usually smell him before you see him coming, though. Just a mixture of outside alcohol and BO comes in the door before he makes it.
So you, Faye, and Cassidy, they're just a couple of hobos.
Yeah, we definitely both look like hobos.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a point, actually, about about the setting of the game. That the esoteric order of the Illuminists recruits people who are good at what they do. And that's generally finding Aetheros and resolving them and dealing with any possible horrors or whatever that might be there. They don't care about gender. They don't care about ethnicity. They don't care where you're from, who you are, who you sleep with. It doesn't matter. All that's important is how well you do your job. So there's a certain openness within this order that, and which gives people a little more freedom to be who they are, no matter what. So just something I just wanted to mention. Now, of course, there's the rest of the world out there, and that can be a little more trying, but
when
at least within the order, everyone is welcome. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, but when you're here, your family.
Yep. Your family, exactly.
The Garden of Olives.
All right, so you sort of have two options, but feel free to come up with anything else. I mean, you could go directly to the cemetery, or you could go and interview Mrs. Kinder, or anything else you wish to do.
My inclination would be to go check for signs of the paranormal at the gravesite.
Okay.
Me think either way we're gonna find something at the gravesite. So maybe we go and ask a few questions. Maybe we find something else we're looking for.
Think
All
we
right.
should probably bring like a shovel or something?
It's currently, probably closer to 2:30 in the afternoon. By the time it would take you about close to an hour by the time you hitch up the carriage and everything to get there. So it is daytime. Just saying.
It's a graveyard, you fed. There'll be a shovel there, boy. You don't need to bring one.
I mean, you could put one in the
Shovel,
carriage if you want.
In the work shed. It's such a pretty shovel.
I also had similar concerns about him walking into the cemetery in broad daylight with a shovel.
Well, honestly,
Again, you could put it in the.
You go in the carriage. Yeah, that's fine.
I was just gonna say, you, Faye, and Cassidy, way they're dressed, they can also pass for people who
Grave
work in a
diggers.
cemetery digging graves.
Yep. All right. So you're going to go directly to the cemetery. The cemetery is Greenmount Cemetery. It was dedicated in 1839 and was the beginning of what was known as the rural movement. It's Baltimore's first rural cemetery and one of the very first in America, which means it's the first time that it started putting cemeteries outside of the city rather than graveyards right next to churches. It's a dedicated place for burying people. There are a few famous residents there that you'd probably be aware of, one of which is John Wilkes Booth, as well as his co-conspirator, Michael O'Loughlin. Elizabeth Patterson Bonaparte, wife of Napoleon Bonaparte's brother, is buried there, as well as Johns Hopkins, the founder of Johns Hopkins University and Hospital, which at this point is one of the biggest and most famous hospitals in the country. I take it you're going to take your carriage there, or are you going?
Yeah, carriage sounds good.
Carriage sounds good. Mr. Kraus will, can drive the carriage if you would like, and the four of you can ride in the back with your shovel. Are you bringing anything else, unusual other than, I would assume any personal items you have with you, but
I'm gonna say, Yufei brings his shovel that he names Harold.
okay,
It has a little X kind of carved on the shovel head.
okay,
And a bottle of wine.
okay. Sounds good.
I bring a small fields testing kit.
Sure.
And, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah, a little chemistry kit.
and my cane.
Okay.
I strapped my large Bowie knife to my hip. Of course I have a Bowie knife. Why wouldn't I? It's 1888 and I'm from the South. I was a hunter and a trapper. So giant
Sure.
Bowie knife strapped to my hip and a couple of notebooks just in case I need to jot something down.
Sounds good.
The Bowie knife or Bowie knife?
Yes.
Both.
Okay.
Thergist or Thergist, I don't know.
You would have to ask the man himself how he pronounces his last name, and you probably get different answers depending on which family member answered you.
And how
True.
drunk he is? I don't know.
Yeah, right. I'm Jim Bowie.
So
I'm
as I
David
well,
Bowie.
oh sorry, did you? You're back. Did you want to?
Yes, I'm
did you want anything? I was just saying if anyone was bringing anything particularly unusual or what have you, along with you to the ride to the cemetery.
Just the standard gear.
Okay, that works.
Just imagine you to say something bizarre, Sean, like the coffin of my dead mother. Be like, oh god, that's out of the norm. No,
Yeah,
no,
that
we're
would-
back
maybe
to normal
not
for this.
Sure, why not? So yeah, you Mr. Kraus readies, goes out, gets the carriage, readies it for you. You all load into it. You start heading north out of the city. Basically, the cemetery is right where the city sort of starts to fade away to countryside. Though there is some new construction nearby. Like the city is starting to grow out around the cemetery at this point. There is a huge marble archway entrance and wrought iron fence that goes around the outside. There are carriages and horses coming in and out. There's couples strolling together arm in arm. A few of them have picnic baskets. Within the cemetery itself, there are quite a few people with blankets laid out. There's families with children playing. At this time in history, there really weren't a lot of public parks. And cemeteries were a wonderful place for families and such to go to enjoy nature and, and be outdoors and sometimes visit their deceased loved ones. So, going to the cemetery for a date wasn't an uncommon thing. So, you go in, you don't know exactly where her grave is, but you could, do some searching around. I'll tell you what, we'll do an experiment with a test here to sort of show how this works some more. What I'm going to do is have you all make a notice test. Now, for something where all of you can be involved, you can do something which is basically you can assist in a test. What you have to do is choose one person who's the leader, probably the person who's the best at it, and then everybody else involved can also make a test, but they can only add one card. And on top of that, the person who initially made the test has to get at least one success. Or you can do them all individually if you want. That's always your choice, whichever way. But of course, the notice test will be, usually your better chance,
Yeah.
or the assist rather.
On a group test.
Yeah.
The assisted test. The card that you give to the lead.
Yep.
Does it have to, in order to count as a success, does it have to match yours? or
Yours.
theirs?
It uses your quality
Okay.
because
Not-
it is
not-
you
not the
doing
leads.
it. No,
Right,
not the leads. It's your quality. You're basing it off of your quality. And if it's a Joker, you have to give
Right.
the Joker. I didn't cover Jokers earlier. If you have a Joker, if it's of the same color as what you're looking for. So if you're doing Cardia, if it's a red Joker, or Cardia or Numa, would be a red Joker. It's 2 successes. It gives you 2 successes. If it's a of the other color, it takes away 2 successes. So there is some risk with multiple people assisting because they might throw in a bad Joker.
So this is a psyche test, you said. I have
Yes.
Psyche's my big one. I'm the investigator boy.
Yep.
I have a 2 in notice, but my Cabal gift, whenever I attempt a revelation, is this a revelation?
No, this isn't a revelation. This would be revelation comes later. Like I said, I'll get into that a little later once you know.
I got too excited.
Uncover
I
one
read
more.
the next sentence that said when I'm making psyche checks, I can draw an extra card, and I was like, hooray! But that's only for a revelation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm working with a 2. Does anyone have higher than a 2?
I also have a 2, and my psyche's also 8.
I have a psyche of 5, but a notice of 3.
Okay.
Still give it to the 8. If we're doing assists, I think we work with the 8.
Jahan, you want to take it away?
Sure.
Okay.
I've got 4 and 2, so that's 4 psyche and 2 notice. So that's
So I draw my 2.
Yeah, you draw your 2.
All right.
And you have a...
They,
Okay, so they are both successes. None of them give fortune. So you have 2 successes. So who wants to make their test next?
I will. I just draw 1, right?
How many? Yeah. Yes. Only yes.
Okay.
no. If you have 3 notice, you draw
Oh,
3. but
sorry.
give-
Yes, you draw as many
give
as you
it-
skill.
But you can only
Okay.
give 1 success.
You can only give one. Yeah. Sorry.
or Joker.
1, 2, and 3.
Uh-oh.
But that's the wrong Joker
That's the
too.
bad Joker.
Yeah. Look at that.
Currently,
Just gotta
we're
explain
at
the
0
Joker.
success.
I'm happy about that. We just got to explain
I'm
the
happy with
Joker
it, too.
law, and we see it come out. It's cool.
Yep. So who's next? Get something.
Go. And that is my psyche 4.
That will be a success.
So
So
yep,
okay. So we
that'll
got
be-
1, and then who's left?
Me, you've got 2 notice coming from me.
Yep. Go ahead and draw your 2.
See if I can get you a success here.
Yeah.
5 of hearts
5
and a
is
queen of
success.
hearts.
The 5. That's a success.
Yeah.
So that gives you 2 successes. I mean, you would find it eventually. It's really a matter of time. With 2 successes, it takes you about an hour of wandering around looking for her grave. Mostly, you find it because there are a number of kinders here. Her parents are buried there. It's a fairly big, elaborate affair. Marble statue with an angel above it for them, and hers is smaller next to them, but because she's younger. But after about an hour of wandering around, you do manage to find her grave. Yeah, that was a great example of how a Joker works. You would have had 4 successes otherwise. Her grave. Yeah, you find her grave. Sadly, this actually involves another notice test to examine the grave area.
Why don't you
If
go
someone
ahead and
wishes
be the
to.
lead there, Gary?
I feel like if Michael takes lead, he has a higher chance of success, right? Because he's snapping out 3 cards.
It's probably true.
Do it to it.
Yeah, you
Michael.
go ahead and be head. Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. All right. Well, I got 1, 2, and a 3. Got 5 of spades, 4 of hearts, and a 7 of clubs.
Okay, so you have a psyche of 5, so that'll be 2, 3, and that gets discarded.
And
So you have 3 success. You're starting with 3 successes, unless you want to take one of those as fortune. You want to assume that people are going to. give you
I'm
more.
Probably.
I'm gonna stay.
Probably
I
hold.
think.
I would probably hold the fortune myself, but if you
Okay,
want to cash it in immediately, go for it.
it's up to you.
I think I'm gonna stay. I think I'm gonna stay for now, though.
You're going to keep it or use it.
I'll keep it.
Okay, so that gives you 2 success. I forgot you're all supposed to start with 1 fortune as well, so I'm adding those right now. Deal 1. and that was Yufei, who did that, correct?
Yeah. I'll go
That's the
ahead
second.
and assist him now
Okay, go ahead and do yours. Yep.
with 1 success.
Okay, throw that up there. Was anybody else assisting? Actually, you don't need anyone else at this point. You got everything. Three successes are going to give you everything you need.
Chances of getting worse.
Yeah, the meadow wheels were rolling in my head, and I was like, should I bother?
Technically, you would have to declare it before,
Okay.
before the lead draws, but I'm not going to worry about it. You got 3 successes. That's going to get you there. The ground is muddy. You find there's a number of footprints and such around the area. You're not. The interesting thing here is that the ground itself is overturned. It is overturned, and you know that it's rained significantly since her burial. So that the ground should not look overturned, and you should not see footsteps here.
The grave robbers after that body, man. Look at this. The ground overturned. The footprints there.
Yufei is like kneeling on the ground. He's kind of like just kind of touching it and kind of crumbling around it down to the floor, and everything goes. Yeah, it's rained recently, and this land.
I'll talk to some people.
It looks like a group of 4 to 6 men and a mule. There's a number of burned out cigarettes and such as well. Definitely 4 strong men. You can tell by the boot prints, and 2 of the there are prints also. At first you think they're a mule, but then you realize no, those aren't a mule. There are sets of bipedal footprints of something with cloven hooves.
Cassidy, this. Take a look at this.
2 of them with cloven hooves.
And Yufei's kind of like waving his hand around. Looks like you're the trapper.
This a whole gang of green robbers. This ain't no 2 men. This a whole gang. This is probably one of the local boys. You should be able to find them if we keep an eye out at night. Yeah, it's a big group. Also, this house here. It looks like something.
The wharf rats, or the riffraffs, or the whatchamacallit tubs.
I can
Blood tubs.
I can put some feelers out.
And then there were 2 other somethings, 2 bipedal beings with cloven hooves.
It's a graveyard. There's grave robbers. This here probably gonna be it's something eat flesh. Something come out late at night. Hunt you down and eat your flesh like a ghoul. We heard tale of something like this. A Wendigo out west. It's always called something different.
Would you like to make a mysteries test? Mysteries allows you to know about things of entities.
I definitely
Really quick question.
Yeah.
There's no other a wagon tracks or anything like that.
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like there was a mule a mule and a wagon was here as well.
Definitely a mule wagon, probably.
And there's a mule with a wagon and 6 guys standing over there. You said?
No, it looks like there was a mule and wagon right by the grave, and then 4 people were tramping around here, and then additionally 2 people with cloven hoof feet.
We're basically just doing forensic science at this point.
Yeah, basically trying to figure.
I thought you had mentioned that there was a group of men, burly men, nearby.
No, not actually nearby. Okay. Just footprints in the mud around the where the grave is. But again, it looks like the grave has been dug up at some point, probably after it rained.
With that many participants, either we should expect some of these other graves to be disturbed as well, or we should expect there not to be a body down there anymore. because that's an awful lot of grave robbers just to steal trinkets.
What?
Cassidy, you want to do that mysteries test
Yes.
in the background? Go
Really
ahead.
quick, I'm gonna say also Yufei stands up, takes off his glasses. Seems to be kind of quite a mess we got into. Yeah.
What would it take to notice if any particular set of footprints is always on top of another set? Like, if, to tell if they were there at the same time or if it was two groups?
They were all there roughly the same time. You get the impression, just by who's stepping. They're all stepping on each other at various times.
You get the impression from the impression.
But yes, you're pretty sure that they were all there at the same time.
So there's footprints on top of the hooves, and there's hooves on top of footprints, basically.
And when Yuffie puts his glasses back on, then something catches your eye. There's like a piece of paper or something sticking out from underneath some of the mud. You reach down and pull it up, smear the mud off. It is a handwritten receipt that says it's for the purchase of for the sale of 2 barrels of whiskey received by Thomas Wayland, 7 Stars Tavern.
Looks like somebody has playing at a party, tavern. It's a little shindig.
So you got 2 successes there. Is that what I'm saying?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, you were fairly certain that these are the tracks of ghouls. Ghouls are etheric entities that feed on the corpses of the dead. They're spirits, possibly of demonic origin, that appear in human or sometimes animal form and feed on the dead. In Arabic myth, they are believed to be a diabolic form of jinn who haunt graveyards and devour human flesh. Ghouls have been known to stray from Etheros to seek the dead human flesh. And when they do so, they tend to be extremely careful because their powers are greatly diminished. Although they are considered to be spiritual entities, they always manifest physically, so they can't be insubstantial. They're not affected by spirit banishing rituals, and the like. They are believed to be able to take many forms, but are always recognizable by their hooved feet. You got 2 successes, was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, that is what you know.
When you see these hoof feet here, that's a ghoul. I tell you, I spent a lot of time in the graveyards down with my father. We took out a whole ghoul city down there. It's a whole camp of ghouls. They was living there, above ground in the crypts. There was like 1,500 ghouls. My father took them all down when I was a little boy. He killed them himself. These are ghoul track. That's all I'm saying. I grew up as a boy on ghoul track. This is ghoul.
I'll kiss a coin that's in my pocket and touch it to my forehead, and then I'll say a prayer.
All right.
Yufei takes a bottle, kind of pulls the cork with his teeth out. She pours a little bit on the grave and then a little bit in him.
All right.
Respect, ma'am.
You got the right mans for the job, the right boys to find a ghoul. I tell you that right now. This was a ghost, no thank you. You try to kill a ghost, it's insubstantial. But a ghoul bleed and die. You could stab a ghoul. This is a good day for us.
Oh, in my experience, dead is dead. Dead is never a good thing.
So I was right earlier. There's probably no body down here anymore, huh?
Yes, and the other 6 men might be missing 2 after ghoul got a hand on them.
Does it look like any of the other graves nearby are disturbed?
No, curiously. With that many men, you'd think they would have hit, several graves or something. but you don't see any others disturbed nearby.
And you found a receipt for barrels of whiskey?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
It was
no
obviously belonged to. It appears to have, someone dropped it, who was involved in this because it was partially buried under the mud.
There's no prohibition or anything right now, is there?
No.
Not yet. Not yet.
So there's no reason for them to be storing 2 barrels of whiskey in a grave, huh?
No.
Okay.
Luna
That's
would
the
probably note that this whiskey was sold for very cheaply to the tavern. Like about 1/10 the price of a barrel of whiskey.
Cassidy, let's say this is a pretty good deal. I think you get a couple barrels for house.
Hey, maybe they do the price match. Let's bring that receipt with us.
I'll take the receipt out of your hand, not like in a mean way or anything. I'll just take it and look at it. This maybe it's a fake trail. Maybe it's what do you call it? Maybe they're cooking the books.
I say we go to the 7 Stars and we see what's going on there. Do you say Lisa Lee to take us back to where these people might be with that body?
It does seem to be the next logical step in this investigation.
And worst case scenario, get a drink. And with that, Yufei takes another swig.
It's
Amen, brother.
So it's about 5 in the afternoon. You're at the far northern edge of the city. It will take you at least an hour. This is you would all know that the 7 Stars is located in Fells Point. So it would take you about an hour or so to get down there. You probably get down there about 6:30.
All right.
So
unless anybody else has anything else to do, let's head out.
Was that Sean?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. Using Luna's particulars of underworld connections. And
Yes.
stuff. But I think it's best to feel out the tavern first.
Oh yeah, he'll
Okay.
be really
That way,
useful in
there's
that,
a little bit more of a lead, possibly, before she spends an hour trying to find somebody that may not exist.
Reasonable. All right, so you travel. Yeah, so you travel down to Fells Point by carriage. The 7 Stars is actually a few blocks from the harbor itself, but it is a little after 6:30 when you roll in there. People are off work for the evening, so and a lot of folks are stopping by the tavern, so it's starting to get kind of busy, and stopping by for dinner as well. When you go in, you see the barkeep behind the bar is a very tall, strong-looking man with he's got a mop of unruly red hair and a thin mustache, and he's rather openly laughing and talking with patrons as he wipes down the bar and then pulls a beer for someone and sets it on the counter, notes all of you coming in, sort of looks you up and down, noting your eccentricities. But do you go up to the bar? Where are you? How are you approaching this?
With the practice ease of someone who has went many a bars,
Okay.
kind of swaggers on over to the bartender, takes a seat, and ski. Full.
Do you top shelf or the rock gut?
Split the difference. Something somewhat pleasant, but won't have me waking up in an alley somewhere.
I want the top shelf price for the rock gut. I want the top shelf for the rock gut price, and I'll point to the receipt. We got a receipt right here. You price match. We want the good stuff for the cheap price.
Sort of looks at it for a moment. Well, I mean, that one comes from that purchase was from the Melville Distillery, but it was cheap enough. I'm serving it as rot gut.
We'll take 3 of those.
All right. Goes down under the bar and pours you 3 whiskeys. Luna would
This
probably
guy
know
we're
the
looking
most
for.
about this. Be honest, the Melville Distillery is a local distillery that produces a very fine whiskey. The owner is very invested in producing something good. In fact, that they're supposedly have invented some new distilling processes and such.
So I'm going to, I guess, probably surprise Cassidy. I'm gonna grab your shot.
All right. Well, he puts all 4 shots out on the.
Oh no,
3 shots out on the bar.
Yeah, just
All
3. I'll pick
3
one
shots on
up,
the bar.
which wasn't expected, and I'll take a sniff. I'm able to discern if a substance has been poisoned or altered or contains an alchemical substance simply by
Right.
taking a sniff.
Oh.
Requires an alchemy test of risk 2.
Well, let's make your alchemy test.
All right.
See how good you do, and then I'll tell you what you know. You're able to discern.
I got 4 successes. Well, actually, I got... Technically, I got 6 successes.
Holy crap.
Oh, wow.
But wait, what's your psyche?
8.
Yeah, you don't need that many. But you can do. You'll be fine with just 4. So I'm going to go ahead and give you two fortune.
Yeah. I
Because
did.
you really don't need all that.
The alchemist did the alchemy thing really good.
Wow.
Look at that.
Yeah, you know exactly what's going on here. I'm trying to find you now. There you are.
It helps that my character's always been suspicious of alcohol.
Yep. So you sniff it, swirl it. One you note right off that's a little cloudy. It does not have the clarity that you would expect from a good whiskey. The initial sniff, the initial smell is good. I mean, it does smell like it's a quality whiskey that is being used. You're also sensing how to put this, bodily decay in the whiskey to some degree. You're like possibly a corpse had been stored in the barrel with the whiskey at some point. Thus, by the way, where the term rot gut comes from, when resurrectionists would steal corpses, they would sometimes store them in barrels of whiskey to preserve them until they were able to sell them. And then they would in turn sell the leftover whiskey wherever they could, to a bar or what have you, and it was served as rot gut.
Makes sense. I will stop.
Flavor profile.
I will stop my friends from drinking this.
So he's sitting like, whoa.
I love that because you know that there's someone who grew up on it and they're like, whiskey was better back in my day when I was a kid. They used to put bodies in it. You don't know what it's like if you don't have the flavor of bodies in your whiskey.
There's still a bar somewhere that they put a frostbitten toe in the shot, and then you drink it and you give it
Heard
back
about
the
that.
top.
I
Yeah,
heard about that.
it's really gross.
Hooray.
Awesome.
Yufei was about to down his. He looks
Yep.
a little annoyed, but he's learned to trust Ali since, they've been adventuring for quite some time. He just goes, kind of shrugs and just puts it back down.
The bartender had turned to assist someone else when you all were having that conversation.
The bartender probably fully knows that that's what's in there, huh?
Probably.
When
I
I
suspect.
when I showed him the receipt, the bartender said that he made that purchase.
Yes.
And it was a good price. So he's the guy, so he for sure knows.
Yeah. So it seems I'll explain the situation to my compatriots. It seems that they were using those barrels of whiskey to preserve bodies that are meant for sale. So
Maybe
whatever
it's time
distillery
to-
he said, I guess, is our next stop on this tour of horror.
So that would be a good time for Luna to do some streetwise.
Okay.
Not necessarily use any of her specials on it, contacts yet. Just a regular streetwise.
Mm-hmm.
To determine if I know which particular group deals with that distillery.
With that
Or if-
distillery, or
yeah.
or the, okay, or the cemetery. Which one? I'm sorry.
I guess that's 2 checks.
No, you can. Just,
I'm thinking which if
if they're connected to the distillery.
yeah,
Okay.
like this particular group always goes to that distillery to as a
Right.
holding place, or if they use it as a base or something.
Yeah.
And
Good.
so
You're just gonna sort of disappear for an hour or two. Go. I mean, you're in Fells Point. You're in a good place to find some seedy contacts and start asking questions. I'm gonna say to find that out will take you base 2 hours. Risk 2. Any additional successes will cut that time.
okay, with a base.
Before you do this, are you doing anything else in the bar here before you leave?
Luna is not.
Not me.
She's
Okay,
gonna tell the
Luna's
guys.
headed out.
I'm
I
gonna
think-
go do a little bit of research. I'll meet you over at the distillery in about 2 hours.
Sounds good. I think we should take a look downstairs here before we leave. If anything pops off, I'll scream real loud, and that's how you know to come help.
I'll pour the shot on the ground and like look at another patron and be like, I'd stick to the vodka. I'll
Sort of looks over at you. Why is that? As he sipping his brat gut. I mean, tastes good.
We think the whiskey has people in it, and I'll just walk by him.
People? You mean like people?
Yes, my friend.
If you find a fingernail in it,
Tosses his
probably
shot
not
down
happy
and goes
with
running outside and begins barfing in the
I just wanted to get the word
in the
out.
gutter.
It sounds like
I
it
was
worked.
wondering, while we're still at the bar, can I roll? I'm used to saying roll. Can I draw some cards for maybe social graces or charm to some information from our patrons? Any of them that looks like our what do you call it? Regulars. If there's anything that's been kind of amiss or new in going on.
So
Past few days?
the skill you would use for that is technically interview. Now you can use charm or social graces wouldn't really apply here. Streetwise would probably be more appropriate, but you could use charm to make social graces a little easier. I mean, to make interview a little easier. But though, honestly, in this case, people being drunk, I will just allow whichever you wish. I will allow you to make a charm test. Technically
Okay.
speaking, they're kind of separate things, but
Okay. Well, I don't have any dots in interview.
but you do have charm.
I do have charm, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I will allow that. In this case.
So I'll be drawing 2 cards.
Normally, when trying to get people to talk to you, interview is the actual skill. But in your case, you're a performer. You're just charming people, and
I got an 8 and a 8 of spades and a jack of diamonds.
you're looking for cardia. What is your cardia?
5 hearts.
I know. 5. So both of those will not be. You will not have any successes. Both are failures. So you ask around about unusual things. You're doing that. Is anybody else doing anything else while he's doing that?
I would love to get into the basement real quick and give it a quick once over to make sure nothing fishy's going on. Ali, can you help me out with that?
Sure.
The basement. I'm just gonna
Or storage?
trying to figure out where that is. The basement entrance appears to be behind the bar itself.
Oh, outside and back around.
Yeah, there might be an entrance from the back alley. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go give that a shot.
All right. So you're going out back. Just thinking here for a second. Okay. Yeah. You go out the front, and then there's a sally port that goes up around the side. Which of the two of you has the highest notice?
Exactly the same.
You're tied. I'm just gonna say you see it when parked out front is actually you notice a small cart and a mule.
I'm gonna
and you notice that the wheels of the cart are kind of muddy.
Luna, come back over, Luna.
Luna's gone.
I'll just tap you on the shin and nod over there with my cane. Is there anyone watching the cart, or is it idle?
Nope, it's idle.
I'm gonna go do a walk by. I'm gonna go try and peek in.
In the back are a few shovels, a tarp, and that's about it.
I'm gonna nod, just yep. And then I guess we don't need to go this, because that was part of what I was thinking. I was like, wait a second, if that whiskey's here, the body might still be in there. But yeah, I guess we'll find out. I'll approach the door and gesture for my compatriot.
So you're going around back then? Is that?
We should probably get everybody, because it seems like we're going to be expecting to find 4 grave robbers and potentially 2 ghouls.
Well, they could be in the bar.
They could be in the bar.
I
couldn't agree more, though. I do think it's of our utmost importance to have the party for this one.
Ah, man,
the whole group.
The ghouls could be in the bar drinking the body whiskey. They might be into that.
The ghouls are the ones having them dig up the bodies to put it in the whiskey so that ghouls can start drinking with people and have keggers.
It's a party.
We solved your story, Ian. How do you feel?
Awesome. It's over. We're done. Good night.
We know that it's all about a ghoul keg party.
That's something I would not want to see.
No, God, no.
I'll have Cassidy.
A Goulger?
A Goulger. Cassidy, just watch the back. I'll go get our friends.
Better than a kegel.
And I'll quickly... I'm a lot less conspicuous, I feel, than Cassidy, so I'll go get our friends. Be like, hey...
All right. I will say you can grab Luna before, because you would have gone out right after Luna left. So, Luna's a few blocks away, but you can...
Luna, yeah. Luna went down the block. I forgot. Yeah. Hey, Luna. Come back. I think we found our grave robbers.
I'm chugging back.
And I guess I'll go pick up a disappointed and unsuccessful charmer, Yufei.
All right. Yeah, you're asking around, but kind of getting the cold shoulder.
Yufei is just annoying the crap out of people in the bar.
They really don't want to see any magic tricks. They just want to be left alone and drink. Sorry, dude.
Love it.
No worries. Yufei just joins the group, and it's like, looks like we found the wagon. It just looks like any kind of wagon, right?
Yeah, it's a small wagon that pulled by one single mule.
Could Yufei, he's gonna kind of go under the wagon and kind of near the axle or somewhere that wouldn't be really noticed. With his hatchet, he's gonna just carve a small X somewhere and then kind of crawl back out.
Yeah.
Just in case we lose it, we can identify it later.
Okay. It's fairly generic looking wagon, so yeah.
But it's the only one with the X near the
It is. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, now you can absolutely.
Yeah, not a bad idea, friend.
Yeah.
Well, shall we? I'll look at Cassidy expectantly at the door.
So you're still going around and looking?
Yeah, going around for the
an entrance from the back.
Yeah.
Okay. There is in the back alley. You notice back there actually too that there is actually a sort of a garden bar out the back of the place itself, but the bar runs straight back, and there's sort of a garden bar around the side. and there's a wall separating the alley from the garden bar. But there is a small doorway that is open. But there is a basement entrance in the alley, as well as a coal chute. The doors to the basement entrance are locked, with there's like a chain and padlock on them.
From the outside, huh? Interesting.
Yep.
Luna will take a peek with the sight at Spiritus. Are any of over the crowd of people in the back garden bar?
So
anybody
you
there
do that,
hanging out?
and there is a group of 6 people sitting around a table in the back garden bar area. 2 of them are etheric entities. Yes, they are not human.
Luna will whisper to the other girl, "You don't need the basement. Just peek over there," pointing at the 6 folk that are standing around the garden bar.
And once you do that, it's easy enough that you glance down and you can actually see this. One thing they cannot hide is their cloven hooves.
Look around.
There's about a dozen other people. Actually, yeah, about a dozen other people back there. They're the only ones who show any sign of any aether.
I don't think this is the time, and I don't think this is the place.
Oh, I think this is the place, brother.
Well,
This ain't the time.
fair enough.
You did not. I mean, I would presume one of you would probably use Locus to see if this area is an Atheros, which it is not.
My locus is low. I'm a materia guy.
Peeking is just yes or no. There's no testing.
Oh, okay.
You can always see if an area is an Atheros just by
Interesting.
peeking. And like I said, you would know no, it is not. And
We'll say, Yufei, the Theater Surge, does that.
okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Do
The area itself is normal, but there are 2 etheric entities here, which is a little unusual. But then again, the ghouls, more than a lot of other etheric entities, do occasionally leave their Atheros.
but that means that there is one somewhere.
Right, somewhere.
So it's either in the basement or it's at the distillery, or a third location as of yet discovered. But yeah, we should definitely check this out when people aren't looking.
Is there, how some buildings have that little window on the bottom where it's like peeks out into out of the basement?
Those often used to be coal chutes, and then they were made into windows. So yes, you do have an entrance that is not locked in any way. It's a coal chute. You could fit into it, probably. It wouldn't be comfortable or clean. But it is definitely...
I don't think Yufei or Cassie would care.
While they're
Sure.
picking at the coal chute, is the actual cellar door in line of sight of the garden bar, or no? No. It's sort of around the corner. Luna will just pick that lock.
Okay.
Yeah,
That would be-
hell yeah.
That's going to be an easy test.
Yeah. It's
Relatively.
knavery. It's risk 2.
Yeah.
What
It is
ti-
it's a pretty good lock. It's not just a.
What time of
nothing
day is it?
It is by now close to 8, probably 7:30. You've been here for a while.
7:30. So while he's doing that, people usually stare when I do this. So I'm going to take now because it is the appropriate time for me to do my Margrib prayer, which is at around 7:30. So yeah,
Okay. So you're doing this where are you?
I'm
doing
gonna
that?
do it in sight of people, but kind of off to the side. So I'm not
Right.
making a presentation of it, but people usually watch. and like look.
Okay. So you're having them look the other direction, basically.
Essentially, yeah. I'm trying to get I'm just using something I was planning on doing anyways as a distraction.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and make that knavery test. Do you want to spend any grit? Or...
I am going to spend 2 grit for a total of 5 cards.
All right. Draw your 5. There's 1,
Knavery.
2.
That's funny.
Oh, you got plenty of successes. What's your corpus?
8.
Oh my god! All right, so you gain.
I'll
You
take
got
a
1,
fortune.
2,
I'll take a
3.
fortune.
Yeah. We'll give you a fortune. No problem. So you get a fortune. Whoop! What does do there? Go. 1. All right. Yeah. I mean, it takes you almost no time at all. It like less than seconds. You have it popped open. And yeah, you can pull the chain free. You have quite a distraction going on. The basement door is open.
While Luna's doing that, and Yufei just peek into the coal chute just to kind of look in to see what's there before they actually go in.
In the coal chute or are you opening?
Coal chute.
Oh, the coal chute. Yeah, you can stick your head in there. I mean, it's kind of hard because it is literally a chute that goes down in. But it's there is some light. You can tell it's actually illuminated down there. You see the floor, what looks like maybe a bucket and mop. You don't, like I said, it is illuminated. You don't see any signs of movement or anything, though.
But it also seems empty, right? Like nobody's down there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's no sign of movement, but you can't see everything. You have a very narrow point of view, but you don't see any shadows moving or anything like that. So,
all right, Yufei is going to look at the group and kind of give them the high sign that it's clear.
I'll open the door as quietly as possible and head on down.
I mean, you have lots of people when they're talking, just over the wall, talking and drinking. So that's not hard at all. You open it up and you slink on down the short flight of stairs. It's a brick basement. The walls are lined with shelves with various types of liquor and wine, and there are crates of beer bottles and kegs and barrels of whiskey, of various sorts, bottles of whiskey as well. They do have a fairly large stock of Melville whiskey. It's local, so but they also have other varieties as well. It looks like a basement bar. There is a sort of cold storage. What do you call it? Like a bit of a root cellar, because they do cook food here too, where there's some vegetables, potatoes, carrots, that sort of thing.
Is there anything that looks? Okay.
Sorry.
Is there anything? Is there anything that looks like would be used like kind of a tool for like rituals or anything like that?
No, and you as a theragist can actually sense if a ritual has been performed in an area automatically, and you do not sense anything like that. And there's no ritualistic tools or anything that looks out of place, really. I mean, everything looks. There's a little desk, some books, accounting books probably. Nothing particularly unusual here.
Well, friends, looks like we solved the mystery of root cellar. And Yufei kind of just does that, an arm and just kind of does a little spin.
As you mentioned, we don't know if the bodies are still in the casks
Mhm.
as storage for later. So our dearly departed friend may be down here right now. Now we still have a Theros to close somewhere and 2 ghouls to kill. But while we're here, should we not break open these casks, ruin this man's business, and find any bodies that might be around?
Well, no, I take so much convincing to break open a cask. And as he's saying that, I've got a crowbar at the top of one trying to pry it open.
Really quick before you actually pry it open, like in this world, do the dead, the spirits like that, usually kind of like, is there like residue or anything like that that they would sense with his magical sense?
Only if it was a spirit.
Okay.
I mean, you could use the site to look and see if there are any spirits, hovering around. If you want to do that, I will. Peeking, that there's nothing. There are no actual spirits.
Just wanted to make sure.
A regular dead body doesn't usually exhibit any form of aether.
Okay.
There are like 6 kegs down here. You pop them open. 5 of them that had been opened and then reclosed, and it's only about 2/3 full. And Ali probably can tell right away just with a whiff that that one has been contaminated at some point in the past.
I think that's probably a good time to do our 10-minute break. We have a freshly opened up. Something's been going on with this mystery down in the dark. Everyone's all eyes on this barrel. Crack it open. The stench fills the room. And we'll be back in 5 to 7 minutes with Nevermore from Nepantha Games. Ian Lemke, baby. We'll be back.
Thank you.
And weird. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out the Box. Once again, playing Nevermore. I'm still Johanna, and I'm still playing Ollie.
I'm still the co-host of Fresh Out the Box. It's me, Casualty CDG, playing the part of Cassidy.
And I'm Vampire Bites, playing Luna Ramirez.
And I'm Michael Pao, aka Mr. Kapow. That's MRKAPAO of Fantastic Tales of Adventure, and I am playing Yu Fei.
And I'm Ian Lemke, the narrator for this Nevermore tale this evening, which is A Different Kind of Light. And I guess we're going to get right back into it.
Yeah.
So you pretty much thoroughly explored this basement and found one barrel that had clearly stored a corpse in the past. But otherwise, it seems pretty clean. There's no sign of etheric entities or aether or etheros or anything like that. Otherwise, it just appears to be a normal bar basement.
I am going to go ahead and probably ask for help dumping this barrel real quick.
There's a drain. I mean, in the floor. You could just empty it out if you want. They're going to notice when they, someone's going to notice when they come down.
I'm okay with that. I don't want people drinking this. That's gross, man.
All right. There's obviously another barrel upstairs that's tapped right now, but. All right, so you empty out the contaminated whiskey, and where to from there? Does Luna want to go off and do Luna stuff like you were going to initially, or are you all going to stick together? Or?
I think we need to tail at least the ghouls, because we want to find the Etheros. But finding out which group typically haunts
the distillery.
I'm thinking the distillery still. Yeah.
I mean, I think we should go to the distillery for sure.
Okay.
You can at least take a peek.
Yep.
Do that.
And I mean that in a double entendre way, so we can peek through the ether when we get there to see if it's the spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of figured.
Plan.
All right. Well, you go back out. Are you locking it back up, or are you leaving it unlocked, or what's your plan there?
I'll lock it if no one else does.
Yeah.
Okay. So you lock it back up. And you realize that the ghouls have left. The four men are still there. They're getting progressively drunk, but the ghouls have actually left.
Is the cart with the donkey still in the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting. Is there any chance of picking up their trail?
Probably not. I mean, you
That's
could
fair.
try, but I mean, you have no idea which direction they went. You can't track them in any way in the city. Being etheric entities that they are, they probably move fairly fast once they're out of the sight of humans. So yeah, you don't think your odds of tracking them are very good.
Like
I'll
I
allow
said-
an attempt if you really want. But.
No. I mean, it seemed like a lofty idea anyways. I was just wondering if maybe they leave a slug trail or something. you
Maybe
know?
the ghouls told their friends where they were planning to go. We could ask a few questions.
I mean, yeah, you could do that.
And can they leave like where they go, like residue, like residue or anything? Okay.
There's no actual residue or anything like that.
If you want to stay here and chat up the resurrectionists, I'll go see if I can find out who they work for.
They don't seem the friendly type.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I mean, do your investigation by all means. Yep.
So, with a risk of 2, dealing with grave robbers, friends in low places,
Right.
there's a up to 6 cards. So I will.
Damn.
Wait, I'm a little unclear on what you're doing here. What exactly are you?
Trying to make. So I have contacts under
Right.
advantages and liabilities, and under Cabal gifts, I have friends in low places.
Right.
So
So
combining that, I'm trying to get a contact within the group that uses the local distillery for temporary storage, to see if that can help us track down where the ghouls might be.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't really work to make contact specifically of like one of those 4 people. The
No,
friends in
but
low place, but you could
the-
find someone else maybe.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going off to this. If they want to stay and talk to these guys,
You're gonna hit it. You're gonna hit some other pubs along the harbor and start trying to find someone
Yeah.
who is appropriate, who knows about grave robbing and such. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you can play up to 6 cards if you have bonuses from
if I spend 2 grit.
or if you spend grit. Yeah, you can actually play, like, normally you can only play 5 cards tops.
Right.
Like but theoretically you could do 6 in this case.
Yeah. So I'll take my 4 base streetwise and 2 grit to get 6 cards so that I can play them all.
All right. So you're looking for hearts. And what is your cardia?
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Those draws looking pretty good.
2.
I will use this fortune right away as part of the double.
Yeah. Well, that will give you 5 successes. If
Or
you
is
use
it-
both the fortunes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get some good info.
Okay. So, you're
Not
trying to
only
find
do you
out
know
about
the distillery. You know where the fake rock is, where they keep their key when they
No.
go on vacation.
what you actually get is a cop, but a dirty cop. And he this is his name is Tommy, and Tommy Furlow, and he tips off gangs about police activity and if they're going to do a raid or that sort of thing, and he knows all the gang in the city. And you spend some time drinking with him, and he's already drunk, so but coherent, so it doesn't take you very long to get him to spill his guts on the situation. You get a few bits of really interesting information from talking to Tom. So from what you all have gathered from the amount of rain and because the funeral was she was laid to rest on Wednesday. There was a heavy rain that night. You think the grave robbing actually took place, assuming that grave was robbed, but you're pretty sure it was. You haven't actually dug it up to know, but assuming it was, you think it was robbed Thursday. And Tommy is able to tell you, make sure I get this good, that the the cops were paid off to avoid Greenmount Cemetery that night. He doesn't know exactly by who, other than it's a group who aren't typical grave robbers that he knows of, known as the freebooters. Or they call themselves the freebooters. The other thing is that he also, word on the street that night was that the cops were going to be out in force, which was not true. And all of the other grave robbing gangs laid low that night and didn't go out because they were under the impression that the cops were going to be out and about. At the same time, the cops actually weren't out and about at all, or at least they avoided Greenmount Cemetery. So there, clearly someone set it up to make sure that the Greenmount Cemetery was clear that night, and went to some trouble for it. Is there anything else you're specifically wanting to know? But with 5 successes, I figured I'd give you some.
That pretty well null and voids any of the original questions that I would have had. that's
Okay.
Yeah, it's an outside group, so it's not somebody that we already know.
Outside group. And in fact, I will give you that with 5 successes. At one point in the conversation, it comes up, and yeah, the descriptions match. At least some of the freebooters match the 4 guys that you saw at the 7 Stars. He describes the 4 men, and then these 2 really creepy dudes who hang around with them too, enforcers or something.
Right. All right. I will. Since it took at least an hour to use the Friends in Low Places, and it's probably actually lasted two or more.
With 5, 6, it lasted an hour.
Okay.
It was like the first place you walked into. You saw this guy. You knew who he was. He was already drunk, and you managed to pry information out of him really fast.
I swear, I'm so drunk anyone could ask me anything, and I'll tell them the truth.
Exactly.
So, the original intent was for them to talk to. Possibly talk to the 4, now we know they're freebooters, and then we were going to go to the distillery. So after an hour, Luna will probably head to the distillery then.
Okay.
Unless the original tavern happened to be on the way, in which case she'd swing by there first.
I mean, it would be close enough.
Okay.
They're all within a few blocks. It's not like you're going far out of your way. What were the rest of you doing while Luna was off doing this?
During
an hour or so.
I don't particularly want to talk to the 4 of them myself.
I don't particularly want to talk to the 4 of them at all. If you want to talk to them, I'm still there, and I'll talk to them with you, but I don't even think we need to talk to them, truth be told.
Yeah, I mean, humans don't typically work with ghouls knowingly, I don't think.
I don't think they're going to like what we have to say either.
Yeah. I feel like we'd just be confronting them about a crime. And, I don't really want to...
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm in the same spot. I'm right there with you. Do we really just want to walk over and tell these guys that they're committing crimes?
Don't you just hate it when you can't find a place to stash a body? Try to go about it all. No.
Actually, I have an idea.
Okay.
I was wondering for performance.
Yeah.
I use perform to kind of act, kind of drunk and try to get chummy with some of them.
Okay. Oh, you mean
possible
Yeah.
To perform?
Sure, absolutely.
All right.
Are you talking about the format?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a performance test. Sure.
I was wondering, like I said, my plan is you have you, Faye, go there, get chummy with them, kind of, spin this, drunk, like a fake drunken, sad act tale, like, oh, I need a job, blah, 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 maybe, getting good with them. Get some extra info or something.
All right.
Let's see. 1, 4. Just double check. Yeah, it's 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
You got
And Jack of Spades, a 3 of Hearts, a 3 of Spades, and a 7 of Hearts.
so to get them to be friendly. I'm going to say this is risk 3. So what do you got here? I got 1, 2, 3. You have 4. So actually, you can take a fortune if you want.
Okay, I'll do that.
You're doing good with the fortune there. There you go. So yeah, you go over. I mean, they're well into their cups already. So you sit down, but you sort of hang out in the area, you talk to some people, maybe even do a couple magic tricks, little hand magic, and you get up close to them, start talking with them. You quickly learn that their names are John, Harry, Willie, and Artie. They, they're just out having a good time. They, they're pretty open about the fact that they recently came into some money. They, they had done, they did a job that they keep saying that they paid well. That, they've got this one patron that pays really well. So yeah, you're sort of embedded with them.
All right. So Yufei's gonna be like, yeah, down on my luck, really use some extra cash. Think maybe, I don't know, next job you guys get, maybe get another hand.
Well, Artie's the one who does most of the talking. He's like, well, I know, I hear you. We do a lot of different things. We don't limit our activities, if you know what I mean. So we need different kinds of people with different. What are your skills? What you got going for you?
I could pretty good with my hands. I'm pretty strong back. I mean, if you need someone to dig a ditch or a hole or something, hey.
They kind of laugh at that. But, well, how are you at climbing? We might have a second story kind of situation coming up.
Maybe I could go to reach places.
All right. Well, where you stay? How we get in touch? Or we're down
really
here
quick.
a lot. You can find us here, but we need to know where we can find you.
Could Yufei give like the name of a flop house that maybe he
Sure.
would sometimes use? Yeah, I use the house down on 5th. The rundown one with the green shutters.
Oh yeah. So who do we ask for?
Just ask for Yui.
Yui. Okay. All right. We got you, Yui. And
Right,
they sort of clap you on the back, and they Artie buys everybody around and includes you in on that one.
All right.
They are not drinking the rot gut. They're drinking beer mostly. But yeah, they seem to take to you a bit, and they'll let you know next time they're doing something.
It's good. Sounds good. Well, I gotta get back. Got a man to talk about a horse, or a mule or something. But I'll see you guys later.
All right.
And Yufei is going to go off into a direction, turn a corner, and try to meet up again with
The rest of
Cassidy, Ali, and Luna.
I'm just gonna, for ease, I'm just gonna say, especially since that went pretty quick, Luna is getting back around the time you wrap up with them, and the other two are just probably having some beers up front. Is that, or well, not all of you, not both of you, but maybe
You're
ordering
just
some potatoes.
Sitting on the horses, chilling, waiting for the other two to come back and make sure screams don't come from either direction.
Okay. You don't hear any screams? Everything goes well?
Cool.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it all worked.
It did.
Yeah.
So far,
No
you're
one's
doing good.
dead. Yay.
Yay, no one's dead yet. I
So-
mean,
Got some info and a mole.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's getting late at this point. Probably closing in around 10.
So
It's Saturday night, so things are still rocking.
So next
There's still
stop,
people out on the
the
street.
distillery, I suppose.
All right. The distillery, you'd have to figure out where it is. Not too hard. There are actually 2 locations for the distillery. They have offices on Light Street, not too far from here. And they also, but the distillery itself is located northwest of the city along the Jones Falls River, where a lot of the other, mills and things like that are located.
Excellent.
Oh, office or the distillery itself?
It seems to
I'm
me this
voting
is
the
the.
distillery.
It seems like the kind of operation you keep off the books and maybe not a lot of information in the office. I agree, we go to the distillery.
Probably. The distillery's probably where, if anything is going on, it would be going on. But, if there's any like secret land ownings or anything, then we go to the office. But let's check the distillery.
Honestly,
All right.
if they're gonna dropping off a body, it'll probably be at the distillery rather than
Agreed.
some posh office.
Yeah.
That's fair.
To the distillery. Yeah, we'll go
To
there.
the distillery. Okay, so you take your wagon out there. I mean, your carriage out there. Mr. Kraus once more. Mr. Kraus seems a little put out to be driving around the city at 10 o'clock at night. He's more of a go to bed, when the sun goes down kind of person. But you employ him, so he does as you ask. With little grumbling. I'm not going to say none. You go out there. It's a long building, long brick building, right along the river. They actually probably pull water from the river for the whiskey. There's some offices at one end, at sort of the south end, attached to the long wooden clapboard building, 2 stories high. That's attached to the long brick building, which is the actual distillery. There are lights on inside and some movement. Places like that, they actually are operational pretty much 24/7, and weekends. So.
Yeah, that's right. This is before the 40-hour work week. Can I use my sight to see if this is ether?
There's no sign of Aether or an Aetheros. There could be inside. There
Right.
could be an object or a spirit inside. You can't see that, but the area itself is not an Aetheros. And that's something I haven't mentioned, just so everyone's aware of. An Aetheros can be any size. It could be a room. In which case you wouldn't be able to see it from out here. Or it can be a building, or it could be a small town or mountain valley, or they vary in size. And the size isn't necessarily representative of the strength. You could have a single house that's an Aetheros that's really powerful. You could have a town that's an Aetheros and it's fairly weak.
I guess we need a closer look. I don't know if you guys agree, but it's probably best our personal carriage isn't sitting out of the place we're going to break into, huh?
Hey, you can park it, across the bridge or something like that.
Oh, I guess we could do that. I was going to let the guy go to sleep.
Oh, let him take it home?
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be a good bit of a walk from here for you, but, you could do it.
I suppose, yeah, it's best that he's not around for this part if things go
Okay.
sideways.
So you send Kraus home
I'll send Kraus.
with the carriage? Okay.
Can we also say, just in case, get the bail money ready?
Sure. So how are you? Do you want to? What section of the office section actually seems to be mostly not lit? However, like most of the activity is in the manufacturing and bottling and such.
But
section of the...
they're attached, or
Yeah, they're attached. Yeah,
I mean, point of entry
But they're-
might be better at the office.
yeah. The offices have their own separate doors, so it being late Saturday night, no one is there.
Yeah, it might be
All
easier
right.
to get a lay of the land from inside the office.
Yeah, and they likely lead one into the other.
No.
Cassidy starts scanning the wall and sort of the top of the building. Is there a way to climb up and to get a look down inside of this building, skylights or something like that?
Theoretically, yes, it actually does have skylights and a balcony.
Oh,
I might see if I could take the hard way up.
could do that, but I got an idea. Really quick, Ian, what's the name
Yeah.
of the guy that Yufei was talking to? The one at one of the
Artie?
robbers, Hardy, right?
Artie.
Artie. Okay, I wrote Artie. Actually, maybe I could just waltz in and maybe tend to be one of the workers.
I think
You
they
think
know
I-
that there's not a homeless Chinese man who works there. No offense.
I
I give you like
taken.
a half hug.
Saying I could always name drop.
It's big,
Say,
but yeah, the place isn't that big. Probably people who are on the
Okay.
same shift know each other. Now, you could be from another shift. You know, that could be possible.
it is
I could
possible.
always say
You could.
But they're-
Artie told me there was work.
So, also, you all know by now that Luna is fairly able to disappear.
There is
So-
that.
She's really good at sneaking.
That's good. Yeah. So
Like, there's been times where she's like, stepped into a shadow and you couldn't see her when you knew where she was.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. So if you guys want to sneak into the office, you guys want to go straight for the distillery. Those are the two options here, I think.
Well, start through the office.
Let's start
She
with the
likes
office.
shadows.
Yeah, let's just go for it.
Luna really likes shadows.
And if we get caught, then you can pull your "I work here" thing, Yufei.
And I'm still gonna come crashing through the skylight if anything goes wrong.
Oh no.
Are you going to try and climb the building? Yeah, it would be an athletics test. There's no really easy way of climbing up there, so I'm going to say that's a risk 3.
Okay. I have a Corpus 5 and Athletics 2, so I would like to spend 2 grit to draw
Okay.
2 more cards.
All right.
I'm going to draw 4 altogether. Uh-oh.
All right. Let's see what happens.
2, 3, and 4. Hey, the Joker's the right color. I got an ace.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this looking good.
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yep. All right. So you managed to scramble up a water spout, basically, and get onto the roof. Or do you want to get on the balcony?
The roof, and then I'll turn and wave down to the guys, and I'll just be ready action here for the next couple of scenes,
Okay.
unless I need to come crashing through the roof.
Okay. So you're hanging out
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
roof. Yeah. Go ahead. And then what are the rest of you doing?
Sneaking to the office so that Luna can unlock it.
Okay. There are some people outside of the warehouse area, the manufacturing area. Occasionally, there's people coming out, smoking, just sort of hanging out on breaks or what have you. It's not going to be too hard to get up to the door without being noticed, but there is some chance someone could glance over in that direction.
Why don't you two wait back here out of sight? I'll give you a high sign when the door's open, and I'll stealth over.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
Stealth over with no extra cards or anything. So just
Okay,
straight.
just do a straight stealth. Yeah, go ahead and give me a stealth test. That will take care of that.
2 successes.
That'll be well, actually, yeah, that'll be fine. So you're at the door with 2 successes. You get over there. You're sort of by the door. It will be a risk 2 knavery test to unlock the door.
I'm going to spend a fortune and just open it
Okay.
with
Boom.
with passive ease.
Yeah, you can just do it instantly. You'll have to pop your fortune token out.
Oh, okay.
You can just pull it onto the table. I can delete it and then give myself one.
No, I can't.
If you should be able to just click on the token and it'll open up a little.
Ah, I see. Yes.
Yeah, it's a little. I don't want to say complicated, but it's. So yeah, you go over. You slink through the shadows over there, and and just. You see the door. The door's locked, but then you just sort of focus on it for a moment and shake it, and it opens right up. You all see that Luna has the door open.
Excellent. I don't have stealth. Can I also spend a fortune to sneak?
You can. No, that's a
Okay.
special ability Luna
Special.
has.
Okay. Okay.
You can make a test. You can spend because you only have to like basically sprint over there very quickly because the door's already open. It's only going to be risk 1. It's not like anybody's actually watching it, but someone could glance over there. Yeah.
Rather than stealthing, would it be better to use like notice to watch for the right time to sprint over, since sprinting isn't really sneaking?
You know what? Sure, that's creative. I'm fine with that.
Thanks.
You could sort of watch for a little bit and see if and just it would require waiting a little bit, but you could certainly do that.
I got 2 successes. One of them's an ace of the correct suit.
So that'll be 3 successes. It doesn't take you very long. You wait for a few minutes. You just sort of wait, and basically, at one point, there's 3 guys standing outside, and they all go in, and so the 2 of you can just like bolt up there real quick. At that point,
Sounds good.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, you come with me. I was like, and now we go.
exactly.
I like
So yeah,
that.
you get into the building. All of you are in the building.
Excellent.
What are you planning on doing once you're in there? Just searching for whatever you can find. What are you looking for anything in particular?
Looking for the door into the work area so that we can kind of peek at the work area as well. Is
Okay.
Luna's plan, and just kind of being as quiet and crack the door just a hair open, just enough to peek inside, both literally and with the sight.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that. Peeking into the warehouse area itself, you don't see anything. You don't see anything with the sight. And basically just people in there working. There's a few foremen. There are a couple of guards in there as well. A couple guys up in the sort of in the rafters with shotguns. But they're just sort of they look bored.
They're not expecting trouble.
Not really, no. They probably never had trouble. But yeah, so yeah, that and there is no sign of Aether or the Aetheros or anything in the as far as you can see in there. I mean, there could be a closet somewhere theoretically, who knows? But basically, yeah, you don't see anything in the main area.
I would like to. I want to look through the records while we're in here. Do we know who owns this place? Like who?
Sure. Well, I tell you what. Since anybody who's in there, if you're going to sort of be looking for information about who owns the place, any other interesting information, this would be a research test, which can be done by one person. Unfortunately, your scholar is on the roof.
Yeah, I was like, man, I'm real good at research.
Yes, you are.
I am also a scholar.
And so yeah, so you could it'd be a research test, which you can all make individually, or one of you could take the lead and you could do assistance.
I have 2 in research. What about you, John?
4.
Oh, I could aid you.
Okay. I'm gonna spend a grit
I got the whole goose egg here.
to have 5 cards.
You're keeping a watch on the door to make sure nobody happens to wander back this way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Alright.
drop my 5 real quick.
So go ahead and do your 5. And what is your psyche?
8.
8.
So that's 3 successes. Oh, sorry.
It's a spade there, so that's a success too. Sorry, what is your psyche again?
8.
8? Yeah, you got actually 4.
4 successes.
And then who was assisting?
I said I was, but do I really need to with 4
Go ahead.
successes?
Yeah, five can make a difference and it'll reduce the time. And
Well,
you-
Yeah.
Or,
said
or
you
might
were,
get-
so-
Or you might get the wrong Joker.
Yeah, that was it. So either way, the higher cards that, so you probably want to use that. So yeah, there you go. 5 successes, which is fantastic. You go searching through the place. Well, it's very quickly apparent. The owner is a man by the name of Oscar von Almeric. You probably don't know a lot about Oscar. You also come to the conclusion. You also learn that. Trying to check a name here. Edward Pendergrass works here as a clerk as well, and if you recall, Edward Pendergrass was engaged to Dolores Duval, who started this whole thing by dying and such.
How dare her?
Dying mysteriously at that.
It's
How
clear
rude.
that von Amric is rather wealthy. You find his office and such. He has a bit of a workbench in there. And he has a lot. He's obviously been tinkering with a lot of things at work that. Different devices, some things related to the distilling process. He has a lot of notes about making improvements to the distillation process. He also seems to be fascinated by electricity, and has a few notes and schematics about how they could improve the facilities with electricity. They actually do have power here, and it's in some limited usage. But he has ideas for how to make things more automated and such using electrical power, which probably goes over most of your heads. But you can tell roughly what's going on with that.
Is there a blueprint to the building anywhere?
No blueprint. There's some sketches he's made, but for some of his ideas and plans, but no actual blueprints. An interesting thing too, you find a stack of invitations that he has had made up. It seems that he is having a whiskey tasting at his estate Sunday, September 11th at 3 p.m.
So, what day is today?
What's that?
What day is it now?
It is Saturday.
So tomorrow morning,
Tomorrow afternoon.
tomorrow afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. I guess we'll grab some invitations.
All right.
so we can gain entry to this event should we need to. Nothing stands out though, right? No, there's no like nothing weird on the bench, right?
No, I mean, yes, but no. I mean, weird in that. I mean, this guy's clearly brilliant, and has, and like I said, sketches and such involving electricity that go beyond your possible understanding of it. But other than that, that's about it.
And what was the capacity that Pendergrass was involved with all this?
Pendergrass is a clerk. You find his desk basically, and you're like, oh, who's that? Oh, wait, this belonged to Edward Pendergrass. Who was that? Yes, that's the guy who was.
I want to go through his
engaged.
desk.
There are a number of love notes between him and Dolores. Some, a pressed flower. Other than that, everything you'd expect to find at a clerk's desk.
Gotcha.
Nothing particularly out of the ordinary.
Okay. That concludes my investigation of this room, I suppose.
Well, I mean, this is sort of I'm just describing the offices in general, assuming you were searching. I mean, you don't come across any other unusual documents or anything like that.
The only other thing I was interested in is if, like, they own some weird property somewhere, but...
Other than his estate, no.
Okay.
It's not weird.
I do think that the estate is the next breadcrumb, but I also, since I'm on the roof, I just want to make sure there's not, like, a door over there that some guys are guarding.
No, I mean, in fact, you can walk across the top of the whole thing and look down through skylights. There doesn't seem to be any like hidden room or anything down there.
That's what it sounded like. I just wanted to dot my I's and cross my T's.
Actually, you know what? If you're doing that, though, give me a stealth test.
Okay, I would love to. Stealth is actually one of my higher skills. I think it's not trained at all, which is really good news.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I have a 1. So there's that Corpus 5.
And you can spend and you can spend grit if you wish.
I'm not gonna spend a grit this time.
Okay.
Feeling good.
All right.
That's the jack that I was looking for, because I
Okay.
have a 5 in that skill.
Okay, so you fail.
Yes.
Okay, let me draw a couple cards.
Loud on the roof.
And they got 2 successes.
No.
Oh.
So you're like creeping along up there, and basically part of the roof sort of buckles a little bit at one point, and it's aluminum, and it makes this horrible creaking sound. And remember the guys in the rafters, the guards. One of them kind of looks up, and your shadow. The moon's up, and your shadow is just displaying right across one of the skylights, and he shouts,
Man.
points, and then starts to lift his shotgun. That is effectively the beginning of a combat round. The way since you're fully aware no one has any special abilities or anything like that, you get to act first. The way combat in Nevermore works is that, assuming there's a group of players and a group of NPCs, a player gets to choose amongst yourself, then an NPC, back and forth. Now, some entities have special abilities that allow them to go first or whatever, but these are just normal guards. And I think someone was watching the door. Luna was watching, so Luna sees this immediately as well. You see that, the guards notice something up there and begin raising their shotguns up. Which of you wishes to go first?
I'm gonna get the hell out of there. I don't want this to turn into a firefight. These guys are just doing their job. So I'll go first, and my go first will be to run.
So are you going to run and try and shimmy down the way you got up? Or what do you do? How are you running?
So my first way up was to try to get on top of the place to get up there high. This time is to get down fast. So is it possible for me to just stomp across the roof, stomp down on the offices, and jump off with a lot less tact than it was to climb up here?
Except, well, I mean, it's still two stories plus a roof. You know, I mean, you're not. It's not an easy jump. I mean, you could like jump down onto the balcony and then do the same to get down to the ground. That would be your best bet to risk. You know, it's still some risk of hurting yourself.
Yeah, I'll take the minor risk of spraining a shoulder, or maybe knock a shoulder out the socket, rather than get in a firefight with some shotguns. No problem. Are you looking for an athletics?
Yeah, athletics risk 3.
Okay, I have 2 in athletics, corpus 5, and I'm going to spend a grit on this one, so I'm going to draw 3.
Okay.
We're looking at 1 success.
2. You got a club. So you got 2. So it's not a complete failure. You could spend a fortune to get you up to 3.
I do have 1 fortune, so I will.
Okay, so pop your fortune out.
There she blows.
Okay, and I get that one.
So I come stomping across these rooftops, and in a very no finesse at all, just plop down off of this tin and slam on my back onto the balcony, and then roll over and hang off the balcony in my arms, and then let go and land on my back again, just face up.
Like Peacemaker.
Yeah, knock the wind out of myself too.
Yeah, because you just made it. You know, you didn't get anything special there.
It wasn't flashy, but I did it.
No. So yeah, you boom. They see which way you go though, and for their action, they're running. Well, at least one of them right now is running out the door of the side of the warehouse. What are the rest of you doing then? Yeah, Luna. The rest of them don't even know anything.
Yeah, Luna's gonna grab Ali and Yuffie and pull them towards the front door.
Okay.
We'll leave that door open. We don't need to lock it behind us.
Okay, so you all basically at this point you're all just gonna bolt running off into the night. Yeah. Is that what I'm getting? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So these guys are giving chase. And a few of the workers are running after them, and foremen and such. There's a sort of a little crowd running after you. What I will allow here is either athletics or stealth as a test to try to evade them, and each of you will need to make one of these.
Actually, I was wondering, would it be possible for Faye to like toss a match, like throw some crumpled up papers into like a wastebasket or something, and like start a fire as a distraction?
Yeah, escape. Absolutely, because that will cause you could cause a fire for them to have to run back.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to cause a fire on the way out.
Are there any horses around here?
Yeah, but they're sort of over by the
going closer to them
production.
First.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, you'd be going towards them.
Back. Yeah.
Never.
And escape looks like it can be used to.
Oh yes, escape.
As well.
Sorry, yeah, escape would. Yeah, actually, it should be escape or stealth, whichever of the two you.
Yeah, Luna will be doing stealth, of course.
Okay.
And if she fails, she'll burn a fortune to.
So let me just make a test for these guys real quick. I'm gonna. It's 1 card. Ooh, that's 2 successes. Okay, so they have 2. I was gonna say base 2. So this is a risk 4.
I have
to get free and clear. If you get 2, you'll still be out of sight for them for a bit.
I don't have escape or stealth trained.
Okay. If you have another thought of what you want to do, that's fine. I'm just saying those are the 2 like straight up.
Yeah. Can I use athletics to cheese it?
What? How are you going to use athletics? How would that work? Just bolting?
Parkour.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll let you.
Wing a max.
Yeah, I'll try to I'll be like, hey, that alleyway looks like it's full of stuff, and I'm gonna like try to get over an obstacle.
The thing is, there are no real alleyways where you are right now, because you're you're at the edge of the city, over the river, where and there's a bunch of like warehouses and mills and things. There's sail mills. There's various textiles and such, and even like grain mills and that sort of thing. But yeah, you can use athletics to like sort of jump over some things and try and get out of the way. So go ahead and make your athletics test. Are you spending any grit?
I'll spend 1 grit.
Okay. Uh-oh. Was that 6 yours too?
Yeah.
And what is your corpus?
My corpus is 5.
Nice.
Okay, so you got -2 successes.
Negative 2 successes.
Perfect.
All right. So we'll deal with that in a minute. And then would everybody else please give me your escape?
I'm going to be part of that -2 also. I'm going to stealth, and I have 1 card, and I have a 5, I believe.
Any grit?
No grit. There's my
Okay.
2 of diamonds,
Okay. So that's 1 success.
and that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Just have a 1 in stealth.
All right. So they haven't caught you, but you're still in sight. They're still in sight of you. Who's next?
Is there I start a fire roll card
No,
stat?
you start a fire. I'm not even making you make a test for that. I will allow you to do that fairly quickly, especially since you're a magician. You kind of make a fire.
Flash paper.
So I'm gonna use that as a distraction for me to. I guess I think I do have escape actually.
You should.
I do 2.
Yeah.
I got 2 in escape.
Actually, what I'm gonna do is give you all free success essentially, for your fire.
Cool.
So you only need 3.
So 1,
And
2.
And that'll be, what's your corpus?
My corpus is 5 clubs.
Okay, so that's 2 successes. So you're almost away from them, but not quite. And then who do we got left?
That'd be Luna.
Okay. 1. That's your stealth check.
2
Test.
successes. Yeah.
Two successes. So that puts you at you. They will, unless you want to spend a fortune, they will still see you, but you're doing better than the rest of them.
I'll wait here, par for the course with everybody.
Okay. All right. So situation is this: who got the 0 successes? That was Ali,
I
right?
got -2 successes.
Oh, Ali got 2. Who got 0?
No, -2.
Oh, -2. Right. So what happens is Ali and you go to run, and basically you hit a curb and face plant, like right there. The rest of you sort of scatter, and the men basically converge on you since you fell. I'm going to say actually at that point, because of that, the rest of you managed to get away. Because they're focusing on the person who's on the ground, and then we'll deal with that in a second. So the rest of you like melted off or run off into the shadows. You're down the ground, and this group, basically the 2 the 2 guards run up on you with shotguns aimed at you. What are you doing? You can take another action, but they're right there.
So if I bolt, they'll shoot me.
They will try and shoot you in the back. Yes.
Yeah.
Likely.
Did they necessarily? I don't know. My instinct.
Stay down. Stay down.
Yeah, my instinct is to pretend like I was trying to run away from those other ruffians. Play innocent. I'm not sure how much of me they saw doing stuff. So.
I mean, they didn't see you actually run out the door, but what were you doing? What were you going to have been doing here? I mean, obviously you were in the vicinity. You were running in the same direction as the rest of them. It's going to be pretty hard to convince them that you were trying to get away from these guys, unless you got a really good story. I don't know.
That's the best idea I have. I'm going to try and sell it.
Okay, so you're gonna just hands up and surrender. but try and talk your way out of it.
Oh, I saw. Sorry, I saw. Don't shoot. I saw one of those men lighting a fire. I was trying to stop him.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I was just passing by, and I saw that
In the
man.
middle of the night?
I would like to go for evening strolls. I have social grace, so I'll try to play up like I'm a fancy person.
Do you have persuade?
Man, I wish I did. No, I can give you a no skill roll though with some grit or something.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right.
Or yeah, it's gonna have to be persuade.
I'm gonna drop 2. I'm gonna drop 2 grit.
Okay.
All right. So I get 2 cards. I have some.
Yep.
Oh, that's no help at all.
No, you got a success.
Oh, because it matches.
Oh, no, wait. These are the 2 cards. These are the initial 2 cards. So that will be nothing.
Okay.
Because you have to play the king. But then you spent 2 grit, so you get to draw 2 more cards.
Oh no, that's the 2 grit is all the cards I get.
So theoretically, you get. Well, then, okay, I'll allow that. But you also get to draw 2 more cards for the unskilled check,
Oh, okay.
which gave you nothing.
Which
So
gave me nothing. I'm rolling 7.
but you did get 1 success.
Still
I mean,
1 success.
So I got
Yeah.
1 success. I'm going to use one of my fortune.
if you spend 2 fortune, they will let you go. They will buy it, but it's gonna be 2. You're gonna need 3 successes to get over that.
1, 2. Have fun with your doom, buddy.
Thank you. You'll have an opportunity to get rid of some of it later. We'll get into that.
Nice. But yeah, I'm very convincing.
All right, so you're like, I saw this guy, and then the fire flares up, which gives you, which adds to your story.
Yeah. That's what I was counting.
and people start shouting in there, and they start putting out the fire. They're basically with the fire going on and everything. It's like, get the hell out of here. We do not want to see you here ever again. You do, I'm blowing your face off.
I'll
Take your walk somewhere else, buddy.
I'll pick myself up and brush myself off like I've been wronged somehow, and I'll casually stroll away.
All right. Meanwhile, the rest of you are sort of probably gathered up, maybe on the other side of the bridge, behind a wall. Except for
Exactly.
Luna, who's sort of like leaning casually against a post, but in the shadows.
I hope Ali's okay.
Well, you hear them shouting, and then you see him sort of walking off. Apparently, he managed to do something and convince them to leave.
Hey, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I do not mention how I got away. I let the mystery wash over them. That was fine. Those nice men, yeah, they helped me out. No problems.
Use some Greek fire on them.
I thought about it.
I would have stopped them in their tracks.
Whoop-bam!
Exactly.
It crossed
right.
my mind.
But you managed to do it without killing people, so that's nice. It's always nice to know.
Amen. Peace be upon you.
So you've escaped. You have a few invitations to this whiskey tasting at the Von Omrick estate. It's close to 2 a.m. I think a lot of you are down a fair amount of grit. What are you all at, just out of curiosity?
I believe I'm 6 out of 4. Or 4, yeah, 6 out of 10.
You're down
Luna's the
6,
same.
or you have...
I have 6.
Down 4.
You have 6, okay.
Yeah. Luna is also down by 4. 6
Okay.
out of 10.
I am down by 3, so I have 9 out of 12.
Okay.
I don't think I spent any grit.
Okay. So you're all right then. All right. Not too bad. Not too shabby. But it is late.
Might as well head home and get ready for the party
Yeah,
tomorrow.
we're not going to find the ghouls tonight unless we stumble across them on our way home. Hey, it's a long walk.
Yep. You got like an hour plus, hour and a half walk back. So you hike it. I mean, you get home at like 3 a.m. or something ridiculous. or probably back to the lodge, just so you're staying together. You get back to the lodge. Mr. Krause seems very concerned, about you, and checks you all out. Notices Ali's suit is a bit messed up. He promises to have that in perfect shape by morning, and you get some sleep.
Sounds great.
Preparing to head out somewhere in the morning. You have multiple options. The whiskey tasting isn't until 3. You haven't talked to
Penrose or Pen something.
Yeah, the Kinder, Ms. Kinder.
Yeah, Miss Kinder is someone we need to interview. We could probably do that first, and then go to the whiskey tasting.
Check out the whiskey tasting
after the interview.
All right. So I don't know what time I'm noticing it's your time. It's like 9:52. This seems like an excellent time to maybe.
Seems like
before we get too further much into anything else. Any of you have any questions or any comments before we wrap up? Anything we want to?
No, that's fun.
Ruminate on.
I'm excited for the next game on Friday. So for everyone watching, we are playing again this coming Friday, same time, same place, 8 Central Standard Time to 11. But yeah, this has been Fresh Out the Box Plays Nevermore. I've been Jahananan.
It's me, Casualty CDG. If you like tabletop role-playing games, come see us every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where Jahan and I play games or read games or talk about games, or we always play games with new people. Also, if you like people that aren't us, you should like us too. Also, we have a podcast. It's called Fresh Out the Podcast. It's like Fresh Out the Box, except podcast instead. We're smart and funny, and you'll find out if you listen to our podcast. It's all about movies, streaming shows, and video games, and there's a new episode every single Sunday. Thank you all for your undying love and your continued support, and I'll see you on the next thing.
And I am and always will be your friend at Vampire Bites, and you can catch me here Friday night for the conclusion of the Nevermore adventure. And in October for Vampire.
And I am the dastardly, dashing Michael Pow, and you can find me all over the internet on my social media, which is usually at Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. Or my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Pow Does Stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, like my YouTube channel, Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And tomorrow on Thursday, at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I co-host a toy show on Toyzilla Network. So check that out if you like toys. And I'll also be here on Friday and also subsequent Fridays for the Vampire game.
And I've been the narrator this evening, Ian Lemke, owner of Nepenthe Games, and the writer for Nevermore. The Kickstarter preview page is active now. Get on there, sign up, so you get notifications when things start. Looking forward to being back Friday, and when we can really get into this thing. I think the really creepy stuff will be picking up then. Sort of poking around the mundane parts right now. Get into some other stuff soon.
Can't wait for Friday. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. We've been Fresh Out the Box. Stay fresh.